But this will trigger the Lexus RCF safety car.
Oh, that's big. That is a very big crash. Oh my God, that is so fast. That is a huge crash.
Rick Kelly, I caught you a minute ago. You weren't really focusing what was going on the track.
No, I just saw that there's a new style of Oakley that's available now. I'm pretty excited. Looks
In the wall. So this is Rick Kelly's car. David Russell at the helm. Sorry, Murph. But
That's understandable.
Yeah, got in the vision, mate. Got in the vision. Okay, I make all mistakes.
as well in lap speed.
Quickly, just to try and grab Andrew Edwards briefly, overseeing the engineering here, mate. Good rise, Bridie. I'll leave you to it.
So just as Murph was about to have a conversation last year, locks the brake, runs wide, glances off the wall, fires, and that's big damage on the Red Bull car. That is big damage front.
Okay, we're at the Better Electrical Sandown 500. Second lap into the warm-ups, and Simon Wills has discovered what is and isn't possible on cold tyres. Simon locks it up coming out of the back straight. The car and the tyres obviously not up to operating temperature. Hits the Armco backwards and bounces back off the fence, then proceeds to roll along the top of the Armco. Good news is that Simon came out a lot better than the car, which is a testament to the safety aspect.
Welcome back. Well, there has been a major incident on top of the mountain already today. That's Paul Wheel in car 50, lost control and is stationary, but what happens next is just shocking. Car 021, the Team Kiwi car of Chris Pither behind the wheel, arrived on the scene there, could not get out of the way in time. That is an awful sight. It's a huge impact. Both cars, of course, completely wrecked, but the team, the HSV dealer team, you'll see it here in the replay. This is incredibly massive impact. At top speed, he clips the wall there. The car surfs across the sand and straight into a concrete barrier. Now the Kiwi who turned
Holden Commodore. Maybe this tells a little more of the story. Yeah, he has hit the wall hard on the exit of Forest's Elbow. Front left and left rear. And there's a little straight portion that I spoke about. And then as it came down that ramp, painted concrete ramp, it just went through 180 degrees. Great presence of mind to get his practice sessions. Mark Winterbottom, new livery for Bob Lowe, celebrating a 10-year relationship with ProDrive Racing with these guys. Matt Blackall, big moment for one of the Shell cars.
Bang.
That's contact. Big contact. Scott Pye bounces off the wall. I think he's got away with this one. Remember that Scott Pye last year made heavy contact.
The car before the apex. And it's...
Well, but just lost the rear.
Inside of this very last corner now, Greg, just so I can get a better understanding of a different angle of the way in which the cars are behaving. David Wall there in the Volvo throws the S60 up on the inside of the curb. Tim Blanchard in car number 3. Let's go and have a look at what's going on with Pither. There's a problem here.
Hits that curb, not the ideal line, and into the tyres. Lucky it's not more significant. Moves in. Get Greg Murphy's thoughts on this as well. It is a very easy point to bump the fence, isn't it? Here it is. Bang. This is where Greg Murphy went in. And actually, it's almost exactly the same as the Greg Murphy crash in the...
Do something about these gear changes. It's not too bad. 4th to 5th and 5th to 6th. But everything below that is really bad.
GT is a long time and highly successful sports car runner. Here we are down at turn 2. It's very much like what happened to Whincup. So as he's launched across...
And we've seen this before, down at turn 1. Gives it a decent hit, so let's hope that the damage...
At 1. So that's the second time we've seen a car looking pretty unstable down there at turn 1. So a pretty simple rotation there, and then off in sympathy goes Lee, who actually whacks the wall. Now in practice 1 earlier in the weekend, Tim Blanchard.
Let's take a look at the replay here. It's a very fast part of the track, 260k an hour plus. At about the 200-metre mark, they brake, try and arrest that speed, and look at the car skirting the sand trap. Maybe just...
You just see him correcting that just before he hits the curb. He has to make a correction on the steering to try and stop the rotation from the rear. And that just makes the whole rest of it very messy indeed, especially when you're over those curbs. So J-Dub.
The last bit yet. So that's the tank slapper. He's sideways from the left, sideways to the right. Wheels locked, stays off the fence. No, just bumps the fence, and that's what turns him around. Oh, that's big. That is a very big crash.
Scott Pye's gone in heavily in the Dick Johnson racing car. Turn 3, fast braking, a fast approach to that braking zone, and it has whistled off at a huge rate of knots down here.
It's hardly
Luckily,
slowed.
it's gone to that tyre barrier, because not far left of that, clearly there's a concrete wall, so that is a frightening scene.
And we 33 G's that made, and huge damage. This is young Chaz Mostert. We've seen an unbelievable run from him this year. And have a look at that damage, Crompo. That was a very fast accident.
And it's his debut in the main game here this year. And what a terrible way to get started for him. It's the same spot Kevin Barton came unstuck in the Camaro all those years ago.
It's a big, big moment for young Chaz Mostert, a rookie here this weekend. Have a look. Bang, hits the fence. So he hits the fence. Neil Crompton picked it straight away. Have a listen for this. This is in...
Look at that, 2 turning, 2 burning. So he's got a heap of lock on. Then he's grabbed the brake. I think that's turn 8. The road's got a crown with a negative camber off the other side. David Reynolds just said this morning he reckons it's the hardest corner to master in the country, and he said you can go through there 100 times.
Away from Rick Kelly. So it's a little bit of a happy hour. This is the big slide. Turn 10 to 11. Very easy to do that, and just touches.
So tell me when they have hit, not when they're gonna hit.
Okay, well this one's definitely going to hit. Right.
You're onto it.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Let's get a new system going. I can tell you that when this one's parked here, there's a Nissan that does almost...
The peak value's down there about 225k, so he's actually made contact. That's the reason it's parked up. In fact, that's big contact. That's worse than Chris Pither's. So another broken steering arm, and that's also got into the right rear corner of that car.
You can see John McGregor looking on.
Wow, that's at the top of Leafy Heights. He's gone in big time. That is a massive shunt for Lowndes.
That's not a trajectory you normally see. Just listen. Straight away.
He stayed with the wheel.
Just talk us through what happened.
Haven't seen it myself, Larko, but from what I can remember, I just clipped the inside wall at turn 3, and the steering didn't actually brake.
Wild run for him. This is David Wall, who also, like many other competitors this weekend, had some suspension.
I think, I'm not sure, damage front right corner.
Up on top of the mountain at Forest Elbow, in fact, it was triggered by this. Jason Richards in the Team BOC entry went straight into the wall. Now, a couple of cars went past, but then Jamie Whincup arrives right on cue, and big damage.
Yeah, big damage. And look, it's such a difficult place. It has run into the door with the left-hand front, which probably, in terms of overall damage, that's where there's serious damage. Jason Richards' car, big damage. That's actually the same thing as Bargwana did here many years ago. He clipped the inside wall and went in the fence.
Looks like it's gone straight ahead up there. And here's why.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's a very bad incident involving traffic. I can't pick up which of the 2 Ford Performance racing cars it was, but a bit of indecision between 2 drivers.
Just before this event, but then he didn't even get to it, and then Dale Wood.
Oh, and a really big crash. I mean, as you can hear there, this is a great shot. Oh, that is very, very fast. It's obviously hit the outside wall.
There's still too much understeer, Wall.
And I can add to that, boys, I've just spoken to Wally Story.
Oh, Greg, excuse us for a second. Big crash to the Bargwana Winterbottom car at Cat Corner, Griffin's Bend.
On the left rear corner of the Holden Racing Team car. Here's the replay. Garth Tander.
Ouch.
And it's a bit...
Showed good pace. This will explain on the Zinger replay. So contact with the rear first. He tagged the right rear, and from then on, it was a matter of being shot into the concrete wall. A little bit loose there. Bang. Wham, crunch, up, stopped. Look though at what happened to Jason Bright, car number 25, the Fujitsu entry. He had big impact at turn 2. He actually finished inside the top 10, his best time at 2:08.07, and made some ground. He even got to qualifying involving two of the very big names, Rick Kelly and Mark Scaife, who's about to come into picture at turn 8. Watch this.
Very typical of this racetrack, lots of blind corners.
And there, and just talking to Roland Dane, what they did is they plucked the corner off the car, and when you hear that terminology, means basically they ripped all the front suspension off, so they had to replace all that. All the side of the car, all the panel work is replaced, but they still got out for practice 3. Now, there's a rule that says you can only have 7 guys that effectively influence the performance of the car or work on it. They've relaxed that for this weekend because the V8s have stepped up to the...
Back at Mount Panorama, we've got a red flag in practice 6, and here's the reason why. Warren Luff driving Garth Tander's number 2 Holden Racing Team Commodore, unable to stop. Smashes into the back of Craig Lowndes, Red Bull Racing Holden Commodore. Here it is again. That's a 260km/h approach to the braking approach to turn 7. This is 245 kilometres an hour, and James was unable to stop the car. A brake problem, and straight across the gravel trap, across the sand, and whacks the concrete wall at high speed. You could tell that the body language of the car was all wrong when he should have been... Here into this hard, fast left-hander at turn 6. It doesn't turn. There's a bit of water on the road, and that's the stuff that we saw earlier from 2010, like we saw with Caruso and Davison. Here it is again, off to the right. Check out the size and the magnitude of that impact into the tyre belts down there. So David
goes past his new teammate. So Scotty Pye had a terrible year in 2013.
And when it's a bit slippery, easy to make a mistake. And this was Dumbrell turning around at turn 4 and bang into the fence. Did a bit of damage to the left-hand front. We'll go on board. Right round and bang.